Today, we'll be going over something called ledger lines. Now, unfortunately, ledger lines, even when you've been playing music for like 50 years, still can be a little bit tricky. But there's kind of ways that musicians have simplified them a little bit. So, in my previous videos, we've kind of covered the notes that are all within here. All right, so from this F all the way up to this G. So you should know the notes that are in this range here, okay? But the problem is that there's notes that are way below that F, way, way, way below, and way, way, way above that G. Like in the piano, for example. So if you were to use this, you'd have to go, well, okay, so we know that this is G, right? So G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Oh, okay. Oh, but that took us a really long time. Right now, we kind of got to go the other way. It's hard. Sometimes it's hard to go through the alphabet backwards. So, okay, so we know F. F is here. So we have F, E, D, C, B, A, G, F, E, D, C, B, A. Oh man, that took us a long time. So that is the range of a piano. Very common instrument. That's the highest white key and that's the lowest white key. Okay, so I play the harp. Well, I play a little bit of piano, but I'm better at the harp. Now, harp is almost the same. We end on the low C and we end on the G. Well, this is pedal harp. I should write that in. Pedal harp. There's smaller harps that are have a smaller range. Okay, now we have guitar. So guitar actually has, most standard acoustic guitars have 6 strings. So, and their range is actually much, much smaller. So they usually don't have to think too much about, definitely not the lower ledger lines, but they do still have to worry about the higher ledger lines. So they go from E all the way up to, let's see, C, E, G. So we go from E to G. And then these ones I just wrote in on my computer. So violin, they can go quite high. And they probably can go higher. Well, I know they can go higher. But this is kind of just like kind of the professional level because you can just keep shortening that string with your finger and get higher and higher notes. But they also have to deal with quite a few ledger lines way up here and a few down here too. We're going to talk about these ones that happen in the middle a little bit later in this video. Okay, and last one, this is my newest instrument that I've been learning how to play, is the bass guitar. So bass guitar, they definitely have a lot of these low notes, but they don't go very high. Bass guitars don't go very high at all, hence bass, all right, playing down here. All right, so I'm going to show you an easy way to learn ledger lines. Well, way musicians have made it simpler for ourselves. Okay, so let's figure out these notes. So we know this one's G, right? This note that would go right here, that would be G. Now we have A, B, C. Okay, so we got C. Okay, so if you know C's this guy, C, D, E, F. And then we come down 2 notes, right? Come down E, D, so this is D. All right, now we have, so F was this guy right in here. So we have F, G, A, B, C. Oh, okay. Whoa, so that's a very high C, right? Now, that took me a long time to figure out, like if I was to just sit down and play that, I'd probably have to write those notes in. So what we've done is what's written right here. These are the same notes, right? This is C, F, D, C. Same notes. But what we've done is we put an octave VA. So what that means is they want you to play these way up here. They want you to move up an octave. Okay, so they've written them where you know the notes, right? C, F, D, C. You may not know that one, but you would know these three for sure, right? Because we've gone over them in our treble clef video. So you would know these ones. And what they're saying is just play these exact notes in this pattern, just up an octave. So you're going to start not on this C, not on high C, but on the next guy up that's up here, right? On that C, that guy. All right, does that make sense? Okay, so that's how we've helped ourselves, is we'll write it down lower, but we'll play it up higher. Okay, now there's a couple more things I want to talk about. So I have another page. Now I remember I was talking about how sometimes we can have ledger notes in the middle between the, oh, this doesn't have a treble clef. Uh-oh, here, I'll write it right here. Or a bass clef. That was confusing. Okay, so we have ledger lines and notes on those lines within the middle of the two clefs. So let's see. We know that a note here, right, is middle C. So, okay, well, the note above middle C, we go A, B, C, D. Okay, so we know that guy is D. And then let's see, D, E, F. That guy's F. Okay, so we know this one's middle C, right? So we have C, and then what's below middle C? B, A, G. Okay, so that's G. Now we have no above G, A. Okay, so we have F, D, G, A. Now, it looks like these are all on top of each other, but actually, these exact notes could be written like this, right? And you're like, wait, what? Well, why are they written here in this confusing way? Why not just write it how you should write it, you know, like how normally, this F in the treble clef, this G in the bass clef. Why not just write it like this? Now, the reason is because especially if you're playing a two-handed instrument, so piano or harp, what happens sometimes is you have both hands playing, right? You're gonna have your right hand playing up here and your left hand playing up here, or I guess down here. Now the problem is we don't really wanna write the left hand note like I could. Here, let's just write it in. So that was F, right? Here, maybe I'll bring this back so we have it. So that was F. So I'd have to squish this note here, F, and then we have D, right? And then we have that G, and then we have C, middle C, right? We can connect those so they're, whoop, that's gonna kind of funny. Oh well, we can go like that. Okay, so we could just move these up, but then look, like it gets kind of messy, right? So it's easier if we just write the left hand separate, right? See, that's just nice, easy left hand. And then we could just pretend I didn't draw those in. There. Nice, easy right hand, right? Instead of getting it all confused. And then you don't know which note to play with each, or which hand to use for each note. Okay. And then I just have one more example of this. So this one right here. This is where your right hand is playing on some lower ledger lines, right? So we have G, A, B, G, gabg, right? So we have gabg. And then just to make it easy, instead of writing these, you know, like we did on the other one, writing these lower and then being confused which hand is playing each one, then we just play the left hand like it is. So these notes, just remember, these notes are the same ones that are down here, but we're just separating them because a different hand is playing it. So hopefully that made sense. That was a lot of information in this one little video, but hopefully that gave you a little introduction to ledger lines. They take practice, but there is tools we can use to help us learn them, especially that octave VA. that really, really is super helpful. So we have right? That was the first bar. Second bar. Right, so our left hand is up where our right hand tends to play. All right, now we gotta move down. So as you can see, I'm positioned, my right hand is actually below middle C, right? Because the notes here, these are all the notes that are below middle C. All right, let me play this for you.